Right. So as Shivansh was saying, I think let's get the facts straight. I think it would be way, way more than 5,000 and quite a diverse population, actually. Not just lawyers, but just today I was interacting with people. There's this elections about to happen in a few states. So I was interacting with them because I had once trained polling agents and presiding officers as well. I used to go to different polling booths to see if they were implementing it properly, all of that. So training is something that I enjoy doing, and therefore I do. Perhaps that's one of the reasons I do. We'll talk more about it during the session today. It's more to tell you what we would be doing in the span of those 2 months. I hope you know a bit of how the structure would look like. We'll do that, discuss that in a while, exactly what all we will be covering. But let's first start with why do I, as I was telling you, I enjoy training people, but what's the necessity? Where does my motivation come from? Just to give you an example, uh, so when just yesterday I received a message. Before we start, can you launch the poll, please, so that we also know who all are part of our audience today? Great. So just yesterday, somebody messaged me. I was in a virtual courtroom. I was before Justice Indira Banerjee and Justice Maheshwari. And at 4, my matter reached. So uh, we had Mr. Sanjay Ghosh, he's a senior advocate. He was also there, and his interns may also have been there because I received a message this morning from an intern who congratulated me for getting notice issued when the judges were not inclined at all to issue notice. So I'll tell you something. In all the matters that I have drafted so far for any Supreme Court matter, any, and I have been drafting since 2014, right? There hasn't been a single petition in which notice did not get issued. That's the track record. And I so didn't want it to be broken, you know. Like my ears and all, everything went red when the judges were not convinced, and finally managed to convince one and then the other, right? So that's the thing. I mean, last year I think this is during COVID times when there were not many matters getting listed. That's when I thought, what is it that I can give, right? And it struck me this thing that that's the track record. People don't talk so much about drafting. How is it different? How do you distinguish a good draft from a bad draft? Is there something called bad drafting? Because generally people have this assumption when you come to practice that it's just the arguing counsels who make an impact, but actually that's not so, because when the judges read and come in Supreme Court or in High Court, then there's not much for the arguing counsel left to be done. That's a fact that people don't realize, that drafting counsels also have, and of course there is an opportunity for the arguing counsel also to persuade, right? But drafting counsels play a huge role, and that is why you will find some lawyers do so well just as being solicitors. Why do they go to them? Why will you find some lawyers named again and again in the cause list? Why would you find some lawyers being most sought after just for drafting? It means people are recognizing that, right? So that's one. The other thing that happens, and this is something that my junior yesterday asked me. So I have a law firm, I just started it last year. So she asks me, why don't you get a senior? Like, not really, why don't you? But she asks me, oh, you don't take a senior for your matters right now. So I said, because she has seen other people, other partners too. But I generally, of course, I give that option to the clients, but trust me, every client so far says, no, we trust you. We trust you, you argue. You're as good as a senior, right? So that's the difference, right? So now how did that difference come about? I mean, was it always there? So I'm not really bragging about myself here. And because it was not always there. And that's when I thought, okay, what is it that I did to make this difference in my life as well as in other people's lives? So then I started to look at what all did I do, or what all kind of exposures I got, or to break it and see what were the challenges I was facing, and then what exactly did I do. Sometimes you do it unconsciously, you don't even realize that actually you have honed a certain skill by developing a certain practice, right? Or you have just changed your method of doing something, or while arguing a case, you realize, oh, I could have argued it this way, right? So now the thing is, why is it such a, it's not very easily available in the market, let me tell you this. Why? Because firstly, there are many people, many lawyers who don't know, right? So there are three categories for it, to be precise. Okay, Manjunath has a question. Let me first ask uh, Manjunath to speak and then we'll continue. Right?
Madam,
Until then, I'll
madam,
also. Yes, Manjunath, go ahead.
your voice is too low today.
Okay. I'm so sorry because the other people working, I didn't want to disturb them. Perhaps that's why I was. Thank you for pointing that
That's
out.
it, ma'am.
Right. So let's, and I'm also not very good at talking about myself. That may also be an issue. I don't like bragging. Right. So, okay. So then you will find lawyers who don't know, right? That's why I'm explaining why this knowledge is so scarce and which knowledge will also come to that. And then there are lawyers, and I'm talking about practicing lawyers, who don't know how to share. Right? So they know it, they do it every day, but they don't know how to share this knowledge, right? Because it's quite I mean they have not really broken the process and seen exactly what they do and how they developed it. What did they learn? When did they learn? All that needs to be broken, right? So, for example, if like just today a matter got dismissed, I had a learning experience from it, right? So it's not like I'm regretting, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Of course, I did look back, I analyzed what I could have done differently. If the same matter comes tomorrow, how differently I would argue it. So uh, any cheating matter, if it comes to me now, what will I do differently in this? So this becomes an experience for me that I get to use. Not just in, so my aim is to use it not just in my life, but to also share that with others so that that experience then helps you all as well, right? Why? Because, see, the thing is, even when I was in law school, I was very good in accounts, okay? Very, very good. I would sit with books 24/7. I would read everything that would come in exam. I would write exams really well. I was the first person to ask for extra answer sheets, right? I could have easily cracked judiciary. I didn't want to. I wanted to litigate. But the problem was, in order to litigate, you need different skill sets that those books do not provide you with, right? So, of course, I have the basic knowledge. I know the case law on the point. Again, you don't remember everything, and there's so much of it that that book Ratanlal Dheeraj Lal doesn't cover everything. It just tells you the basic ABCD of every law. After that, when you start handling cases, you realize that was nothing. It was actually ABC, right? So then what happens? Then there's a gap. Huh? Why is there a gap? Because of this reason, because practicing lawyers don't share their knowledge. and teachers who teach us in class do not know. Unlike elsewhere in the UK, when we were studying there, their practitioners used to teach, right? There would be academics as well, and then there would be practitioners as well. So we would have diversity of knowledge there, right? That's missing in Indian education, and that's one of the reasons why you need this kind of education, okay? And that's one of the reasons why so many people are trying this, right? Uh, so I don't know if you would have seen the video that I did. So once I started thinking, okay, fine. So in all the drafts that I have drafted, all the petitions that I have drafted, notice got issued, right? So what is it? Why is it that notice got issued? So I broke them into points, right? How I draft, what I do exactly, and that's how I train my associates as well. So, and I did one session, and trust me, before I did that session, the moment the name of the topic, was declared, the topic was how to get notice issued by the Supreme Court. I received a lot of criticism. People even said, "Look how desperate she is to do a webinar," because everyone thought, what is there to talk about it? Even the best lawyers were tweeting, it's all matter of luck. Getting notice issued from Supreme Court is a matter of luck. End of the story then. There's nothing to learn, nothing to teach, right? And I was really feeling sad for them, that they don't know. Then there were people who were saying, even if you make Fali, Soli, and somebody else stand together, even they cannot cover the topic exhaustively. All those people who themselves don't share, and then they don't want others to share as well, because they don't understand. They were thinking it was a clickbait. They didn't realize that there could be so much useful tools to help people, right? So if you look at the video, that's why I'm giving you a just Google this, how to get notice issued, right? And see if this is useful. If that is useful for you, then even these sessions that we will be conducting will be useful. And you should check before you come, right? How to get notice issued. And trust me, I didn't realize why there were so many people after me, just after. And trust me, after there are more than 1,000 views. And I don't know why. You should watch this and let me know if you find it interesting, right? So lawyers who don't know how to share, and then you have lawyers who don't want to share. So there are certain amazing exceptional lawyers who don't want to share, right? And therefore they want to keep it to themselves. They're misers, right? And a large chunk of exceptional lawyers are in this category, right? So they will tell you great things, but they won't show you how to be great. That's the difference, right? I'm not as great as they are, trust me. But at least I'll be happy to see you growing, even if you reach a point where you're even better than me, I will be happier than you. That's me. Um, right. So far, any questions? So there's one question: how can we get clients as young lawyer? I'm from Chandigarh. I was actually coming to that. Will this course be beneficial for first year BLLB law students? Fine. So let's take the first. How can we get clients as young lawyers? So I'll tell you one of the things that happens. I told you that you require different skill set. When you are reading, nobody tells you. When you're in law school, nobody tells you that, hey, this is not going to help you in litigating. This is useful. But you need a completely different skill set. The other thing is, see, if you are going to courts, people will get to know they have studied law, right? People will get to know you have studied law. Sometimes you'll find somebody outside the court itself. You'll find lawyers somewhere. Somebody will come to you. That's not a problem. Getting one or two clients initially is not a problem. It can go to 3, 4, but 3, 4 clients in a year doesn't help, right? What is difficult? Way more difficult. Then you have to increase the number. How does it get increased? By reference. Who will refer you? These clients who came to you. That's how you get more clients. One client comes to you, you do their case so well, and it's not even necessary to win it. Sometimes clients are just impressed by the way you have handled. They know the case is was very difficult. For example, today the case that got dismissed, I'm still continuing to do the matter in trial court, right? So they have to surrender and then they have to get bail again. They trust me to this extent because of the way I handled their case, right? So that's where being exceptional as a lawyer, how you research, what you argue, what you draft, all that matters because clients do get it, right? Okay, so then if we have to, I'll take questions one by one. I'll take everyone's questions, right? So that is difficult. And for that, you need to be consistently good in what you do. Whether you're working under somebody, whether you're taking your independent matters, you have to be consistently good. And how will you be consistently good if you don't know how to be good? If somebody tells you, people don't even say what being good is, what a good draft looks like. How is it different? What will persuade a judge? What will not persuade a judge? How should you approach drafting? What should you keep in mind? For example, when you're drafting a bail application, is it the same? What are the key bullet points that you need to include in all bail applications? Right? All of that. I mean, those are the simplest things that everyone should know. And now that's another problem that happens. The other problem that happens is people expect you to know the moment you join the office. The moment they start paying you, they expect you to know. They expect you to do everything by yourself. Right? And if they don't expect from you, then they are not paying you. So there are chambers, the trial court chambers particularly, who don't pay and who are like, okay, fine, learn, go learn, whatever, do whatever. But even they don't train, right? That training bit is missing in our education system, in the structure in which, of course, internships were devised for you to get training, right? Practical training. But unlike, for example, even for other professional courses, I think there still remains a gap. But if you take example of, say, hotel management, you have 6 months industrial training. Now in 6 months, at least you get to learn something in different departments, etc. There, you know, in some departments they can learn a lot, right? Of course, they're not allowed to cook and all of those stuff remains, but in some departments, at least get to know how it works. But what happens in those 1 month of internship, or even if you're doing an extended internships, nobody really has time in the office to train you, or nobody even wants to train you. Why should they invest their time and energy in you? That's where the problem lies. You have it in the structure, but nobody bothers to train you. So this course is meant to bridge that gap so that then when you go for your internships, I hope I'm loud enough because I'm not being at my normal voice today because people are working outside. I don't want to disturb them, but if I need to be louder, please let me know, okay? So the thing that you need to remember is that if you get that, the kind of knowledge I'm talking about, that will tell you what is being good, what a good draft looks like, what a persuasive draft looks like, what is a good argument, how to make it, what to keep in mind. cross-examination. How do you do it? Right from the basics to taking it to how, for example, Ramjeet Malan used to do it, right? So maybe you can get those questions somewhere, but what was going on in the mind of the lawyer when they were framing those questions? What if you get that, right? Because if you just have those questions, that may not help you. If you have identical facts, only then you can use them. But what if you understand why that question was framed, how to structure it, right? How to look at it like a story and how to come up with your own story. And then how do you prove that story through your questions? How do you get that flow, right? So first somebody tells you and then somebody makes you do it and then tells you how you could have done better. Would that help? Because nobody tells you in court you do it and either you win, you lose. Sometimes you don't even figure out why you lost or what you could have done differently, right? There's so many cases that come to Supreme Court and then we look at it and we are like, gosh, this screwed up at the trial level, right? And nothing can be done after that. So if somebody could just tell how you can do it differently, or if you don't have to spend those years, I had to, right? If you don't have to spend those years figuring out, then what happens? Then your pace is way better than other people's, right? So you're scaling heights faster. And the younger you are, suppose you're just out of college and you know your stuff. So obviously you are going to make a good impression on the judge than somebody who has figured out and is doing exactly like you are doing when they are in their 30s, right? So that's the difference. Okay, I'm still being slow. I'm so sorry. Okay, so now I'll try to be louder, right? Okay. So, right. So, I don't know if I've answered your question. How do we get clients as a young lawyer? So basically, you focus on every case with equal dedication and equal hard work, right? You work on all of them, and then the same clients refer more matters. When you argue in courts, other people see. So it's like a visual you are creating for people, right? Wherever you go, you carry yourself. You are your own PR person, right? So you talk about your work, and in order to talk about your work you need to actually do good work, right? You actually need to have work. So that's the difference, right? So that's how you start getting cases. That's how you build your reputation in the market. It's a market. You are a businessman or a businesswoman. People say, oh, lawyers are different, etc., but trust me, when it comes to clients, that's how it works. You create a reputation, create a market for yourself, right? Okay, so now tell me something. When do you think one should start? When do you think one should start building their, as I said, their market, their reputation? When should one start doing that? Anybody? You can write in the chat box. Am I being loud enough or should I? Can somebody write in the chat box? Am I being loud enough? And if you guys can also tell me when should you start? When do you think you should start building your career? You can write in the chat box. No? During our college years, internships, great. Anjali, Anjali, am I audible to you all or is the voice feeble? Okay. Uh, right. During our college years, internships, perfect. That's the time. Exactly. Because when you go for your internships, and I don't know if you know my track record of how whenever I went for internships anywhere, I actually had a job there. I didn't have to make my CV. I didn't have to apply for a job. So an advocate on record offered me a job by himself. He said I will be an asset to his office. Then Mr. Salman Khurshid offered me a job by himself. For 6 months, I decided not to work under him because I thought I should continue working in a drafting chamber for a while, right? That's how it works. Okay, so that's right. During college years, during internships, and how do you get to do that? We'll come to that. After working under a senior as early as possible. Right, very well. Uh, I think after a couple years of training, including the 5th year of law school. Right. So after working under a senior, now that's the thing. If you think you will start working on your reputation after working under a senior, then it may be a little too late. And you understand where you're coming from because you would have first understood how things work, and then you would want to, then only you will be able to build your reputation, right? And that's how people do it generally. But there is a possibility, and that's why some people are excelling than others, because what they do is they utilize their time during internships. They've already built their reputation in the market. Suppose you're doing interning at Trilegal, and the associates, you're working, of course, under associates. SA knows you. SA says tells the partner, oh, this is what the intern found. The partner will never ever forget. He'll just be a call away when you need a job. That's how things work, actually. You didn't realize, but that's how things work. Because this entire market works on referral. I refer somebody to Arundhati Karjo. She hires him immediately. Meenka starts asking me, can you please refer somebody else as well, because that chap is really good. That's how market works. Because people don't want to invest in new people unless they know they will be good, right? So what if you have already built a reputation, and then even if they don't have a job for you, they refer you as well, right? That's how it works. During college internships, so that we can actually use the way it has been drafted in curriculum to benefit students and forthcoming lawyers. Exactly, because if if you start doing it during your college days itself, then see, in fact, during college days you still have time, right? Later on, you don't have time to even sit and observe the proceedings. You're running from one court to another, right? Aspit was saying, ma'am, the difficulty with what you're suggesting is that we have a difficult time deciding what place do we want to work. Personally, I've done internships at various cities in different states. Perfect. Yes, Aspit. Even I had done internships just to understand where exactly would I like to work, right? What works for me. And it's a perfect place to be at, right? But wherever you work, what do you need? You need certain basic skill sets. And see, I understand you may be not sure. You may be thinking, I want to go for corporate because there's money in it, or for whatever reason you like company law. But maybe if I don't get a good break in corporate, I'll join litigation, right? So you have those plan A, plan B, right? But that's what I was saying, that during college life, you have ample time to work on both skill sets. They're not very different, actually. They're interconnected. So it's possible for you to start working on both. For example, if you're interested in corporate, you're also looking at agreements, etc. Right? And as well as the company law, all the laws that are related to companies. Right? It can be IBC, it can be all of that. That's one set you are doing. And when it comes to litigation, again, the same law, right? It's nothing different. But along with that, when you are also developing your drafting skills for litigation, it's helping you even draft an agreement. Tell me how. So that's the difference. You will do better than any other corporate lawyer if you have understood what leads to litigation. What are the issues that one comes across when they are dealing with a contract, right? Breach of contract, etc. When we are litigating on those issues, then if you know that, you can avoid it while drafting an agreement. That will be your edge, right? Therefore, it's not like it's not possible to do it. If you have plan A, plan B in mind, you can start working on both. One will help the other. Even if you tomorrow decide you want to do something else, that's going to help you. It's not going to go in waste, right? Great. Then let's look at other questions. I hope that's fine because it's going to be useful for other people as well. And even if sometimes it's not useful for you, it's useful for somebody else. Just be a little patient because I understand some of you may not be in first year, whereas we have first year students as well. I really believe in a kind of democratic space where everyone's concerns is being addressed, and I'll make sure everyone's concerns are addressed, right? Will this course be beneficial for first year BLLB students too? Yes. So the sooner you start, the better it is, no doubt about it, because you already have it in your pocket. So, for example, if you have, this is a ball, right? So if you have one today, then you can have something else tomorrow. So sooner you get one thing, then there's more chance that you will then get some other colorful stuff next day, right? So therefore, it helps if you start from first year itself. Right. Hello, ma'am. How many years of practice is required to become an EOL? That's separate. We can talk about it in the session. We can talk about it during classes if you're joining. Not today. Otherwise, you can go through Supreme Court rules 2013. You'll find the answer. What will be a good time to start internship? The sooner you can start, the better it is, right? During the first year itself. Ma'am, are drafting and legal research the most important skills I need if I want to get a job under senior lawyer? Right. Along with BA, LLB, on what courses or activities we should focus, which will help in building our career, right? So, Akhil, to answer your questions, drafting and legal research, right? So the thing is, of course, when you're going for a job and we hire people, what we are asking them is basic questions, because if you're a fresher, we are obviously not asking you to draft. But the problem is the moment you join, we expect you to pick up really fast. If you don't, you're gone. For example, we do this, and I know many other lawyers, Jayant, for example, Jayant Bhatt here, so does it. 2 months, you're on probation. We look at how you're performing. After that, we decide whether you will be able to go or not. So that's too much of a pressure for a fresher, right? Therefore, it helps if you have these skills. May not be for the job interview specifically when you're a fresher, but it helps you when you are working to retain the job, to excel, to grow in the same firm, right? Because if you are able to produce more work, if you're able to be more efficient than other people, so obviously you will rise in the same firm, or you will be a sought after person. You'll have choices, right? Can you imagine a person who doesn't have to apply for jobs, right? Because there are too many people asking them to join. You join me, you will be an asset. That kind of a difference you can make by having these skills, because and then you get to demonstrate, right? So you need to look for opportunities to demonstrate them as well. So just knowing them is not enough. That's another problem that happens these days. Many people know how to do certain things, but they are not confident enough to demonstrate. Therefore, we have these exercises as well during these sessions, where in a way you will practice demonstrating as well. So when you do those exercises, again, there will be blocks that will come that will tell you not to do it, right? But when you push yourself, force yourself to do it, that's how you learn, practice, demonstrating this. Whereas each time you're given a proposition, you just know, you take it like it's some sort of a war, and you have to win it. And you do well, you excel well in every aspect of litigation. That's how it is done, right? Also, to make it effortless, right? I think that's also important, because right now, when I'm talking about this, you may be thinking it's so challenging. You must be thinking, oh, it will involve so much of hard work. But the more you practice, it becomes effortless. That's also one of the advantages of knowing how to do it. Then it becomes like eating food, like breathing. It's that effortless, right? Um, okay. What other courses, activities you should focus on? So there could be a lot you can do, right? So you can, since you are already studying stuff, so you can write articles on that, publish them online, right? Suppose a lawyer is looking for something and they come across your article, right? All that helps. Not saying it doesn't help, right? But you need to have a holistic approach. So if you just think, oh, I'm doing this would be enough, it may not be, right? You never know when, where it would click for you. And therefore, you need to keep your efforts diverse, right? So and when you ask me about courses, then of course I already told you about internships. Internships you should miss, you should try to get. Again, there's always a doubt as to whether you should go for the good firms or whether you should go for the mediocre ones. Where do you learn more? It depends on the person, and you don't know, you won't ever get to know if the person you will be working under has the ability, capacity to train you, right? So it's just something that, so I think what I would suggest you, of course it looks good on the CV to have big names, so you should definitely get big names if you're getting it on the CV. If you don't feel bad, I never got it because I went to a non-branded college, right? I went to Aligarh Muslim University. It was not no, national university, and trust me, it was way tougher during those days to get into any of those tier ones. So I didn't have it on my CV. It doesn't affect. If you don't, you don't. Don't bother. If you can, do, right? Then what option do you have? Then the option you have is wherever you get, you prove your worth. That's it, right? So it's not like, see, sometimes what happens, even when we are hiring, people come with the expectation that we'll get to learn. Now, I'm not paying it for you to learn. You need to understand this. That as interns, you come like, okay, fine, now it's your obligation to teach me. That's the problem. But the thing is, how would you demonstrate if you don't know? Right? So if you learn in one internship something, in another internship, suppose you don't get an opportunity to demonstrate that. You need something else there, and you're like, I'm stuck. I don't know. I haven't studied this branch of law, right? Or you are like, oh, I haven't done criminal matters. The previous internship I did with a civil lawyer, right? I don't know anything about bail. I don't know anything about British petition. What is British petition, right? So now nobody has that much of time to make you sit and make you understand what is British petition, and then ask you to research on something that they want for themselves in court that will be way more complex, right? So all that happens. Do you read about British petition? No, you read about how to frame questions in cross-examination. Does CRPC have it? No. Where do you get all that? Does anybody train you on that? No, never. People who have that skill keep it to themselves. People who don't, they keep talking about stuff that may not be very useful for you because it's more of an academic nature, right? So that's where I think there is a possibility to bridge that gap, right? Can we do internship at Supreme Court? Of course you can, right? Under lawyers, under judges, you can definitely do different kinds of exposures you get. How can we register for this course? Shivansh, can you please share the link, or Shivansh will do it later? Akash should stay with us for a while. Right. Then, and Astitva, I don't know if you were indicating two different things here when you said you have done internships at various cities in different states. So I think in a while we'll ask you to unmute yourself and tell me that what all challenges do you face, and then we'll see if we can bridge that gap as well. Can we unmute Astitva, please? Yes, Astitva, go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
Good evening,
evening.
ma'am. Good evening, everyone. The question which I was referring to was is like the place to work, not the sector to work, that is corporate or litigation, but the place to work. Like I have done internships in Delhi, Indore, Bombay. My college is in Bombay, but I live in Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh. So I am very much interested in litigation. So whoever I asked in Gorakhpur or around my place, everyone said that to start litigation, you should be near and around your house, where you already have people
Okay,
knowing you or you knowing people.
understood.
So
Understood. Okay, so that's not necessary. Okay. There are two ways of starting a litigation career. One way, of course, is the one that you were saying, but you can be from different places. As you said, Gorakhpur, you can maybe you are from a village. There would be people who are from a very, very small town where the opportunities would also be limited, and there would be one or two good lawyers. So all the big matters go to them. You will be only left with whatever, right? And then you don't know. So I know somebody who worked in Kalanjawala, and then he went to Ghaziabad, Valcott, and set up his practice. He's doing really well. Why? Because he said, what I'll do is I'll take Delhi culture to Ghaziabad. People there are not serious at all. Lawyers, right? In trial courts. They're not serious at all. They don't talk to clients properly. So now he has remained as serious as he was when he was working in trial. So he said that helps, right? So this is one aspect where your growth becomes stunted if you remain at the same place, and you because you don't know what else people are doing elsewhere. So it may be a good option to start elsewhere, maybe same state, right? Maybe Lucknow, for example, maybe Allahabad, for example, where you have exposure of both high court and trial court. And then you also try to get matters from Gorakhpur to High Court. There would be appeals coming. So that's how you are also networking with the local lawyers of Gorakhpur, right? So it's not like Gorakhpur is gone from the scene, it still remains. And then perhaps these lawyers will say, oh, you're a High Court lawyer, why don't you come and argue my matter? Or a client will ask you to come and argue their matter because you have handled their matter at their stage. Then people start knowing you in Gorakhpur as well. Right? So there can be different ways of building a practice. It's not one way to do it. There will be people who will tell you this is better, that is better. There's some people who, like, for example, Mr. Salman Khurshid had advised us, you should start from your hometown, right? So that when you come to Delhi, to Supreme Court, matters keep flowing from a certain state to you. So then you have to capture the entire state. Otherwise, it's of no use if you just stay in your home. If you capture the entire state, then it makes sense. Then you come to Delhi, you have Supreme Court, High Court, you have CAT, you have other forums, NCLT, and CLAT. But just one state sometimes may be sufficient, sometimes it may not be sufficient, right? So you also need to look at other work as well. So this is one way to ensure that flow of work continues and to see yourself scaling up in your career, not to get stuck at a place or at a juncture, right? I hope that helped. Astita, was that useful? Do research work help us in getting a better workplace? I don't know, what sort of research work are you referring to? If you're referring to academic research, then possibly when you're litigating, it may not be that useful. right? Sometimes we end up doing a lot of academic research and then we realize that in litigation it's of no use, right? Academic writing is very different from legal drafting. It's important to understand the difference also, because the answers you write, those are academic writing, those are not legal drafting. Legal drafting is very different. You need to get the language. You need to really get it so that whenever you start to write, words flow in the same manner as in the judgments they do, right? You see how they're different from what your answers look like or what your textbooks look like. Similarly, there's a difference between how you draft petitions and what you write in exams. Is it beneficial to do diploma courses during this 5 years? Rasika, depends on what you want to do and how it's connected to the diploma you are doing. Of course, you need to, if you're looking at, say, you're looking at just academic positions in life, then of course you can keep doing those kind of diplomas, which is like I did, for example, PG diploma in global studies. That was more of an academic use than real use in litigation career, right? It helps you in some way, right? It helps you to build some sort of theoretical background foundation. But ultimately, if you're looking to do diploma courses, then I would say something which is practice oriented, go for those. Go for those courses which, for example, if you have some, even if you're looking for a kind of academic course, even then go for courses like IBC, etc. if they're not being covered in your program. Otherwise, practice-based course where you get to develop your skills, go for those courses. Huh? As I was telling you, during internships, that bridge doesn't get, that gap doesn't get bridged. And it's very necessary to bridge that gap. So look for courses that bridge those gaps, right? Okay. Ma'am, I'm a student of third year from UPES to criminology specialization. Very good. I have a keen interest in narcotics. Is it a good option to take up this career? There's nothing called bad option when it comes to career. Whatever you're interested in, go for it. But create opportunities for yourself. Opportunities don't get created by themselves, okay? And don't go by good, bad. You want it, your choice, make it happen and excel in it. I'm confused because I'm the first generation lawyer from my family. Can you please guide me through this? I'm also a first generation lawyer. The thing is, I was very clear. If I'm interested in anything, I'll be good at it. If I'm not interested in something, I wouldn't be good at it. And therefore, let me do what I'm interested in and let me be exceptional in it so that work comes walking to me. I don't have to go after work. Right? That's the difference. Okay. Then, okay, this is done. Why is the question and answer not going? Okay. Any other questions do you have? Astita says it was actually very well put. Thank you. What is the duration of this course? It's 2 months. I think, Shivansh, this is a good time for you to talk about the course a bit and then we will see. Yeah.
Sure. So basically, this course we have designed is starting from day after tomorrow, that is 5th of February. And the sessions would be conducted on Saturday and Sunday, completely live sessions. You can ask your queries, you can ask your doubts, you can have a proper discussion over some topic if you want. And in this particular course, we are covering only the practical aspects from drafting, from very basics we are going to cover. Our more focus is on the practical applications of a criminal law, whether it's from the research part or the other things of the drafting part or the things. And we have.
Can we look at the course structure and then perhaps you can explain more?
Sure, I'll just
The
show this.
syllabus first, what we're going to cover, the topics.
Sure, I'll just do the screen share and show.
Yeah, because that should be useful. Then you get an idea as to what all you will learn.
Just allow me.
Yeah. So duration we've answered 2 months, right? What all we'll cover, we'll just take you through it. What is the benefit doing courtship rather than internship? So as I said, you get different kinds of exposures. Nothing is, yeah, okay. So this is a date-wise course structure, right? No problem, it's fine. You have the general one also? You have the general.
Yeah.
Right. So in module one, we will be covering, so this is more of a theoretical base that we'll first provide you so that and this is not like you do it in your coursework or in textbook, right? This is more to do with what will be useful in courtrooms, right? So hierarchy of criminal courts these days, when even now when I ask my associates will have to do something, they sometimes wonder, okay, sessions judge, who's session ASJ, where is the ASJ, where is DM, where is executive magistrate, where are all these people placed, right? So to do it in a practical manner, to understand if you have to move a bail application, where do you go? If there is a 302 trial, where does it go? To understand it in a simple and in a pragmatic manner, not just to write answers, but to actually move that application in that particular court. This will be useful for you. Difference between drafting types of bail applications, right? You have interim bail, you have anticipatory, regular. The other day we did a session on bails, so they realized how different they can be, right? Process of criminal complaints. So you have different sorts of complaints. What are the stages of it? All of it. Process of arrest. Again, can a person be arrested? There's so many questions that the clients come and ask you, and if you don't know, or you open CRPC, the CRPC doesn't have those answers, and where do you get them? Right? So we will be dealing with all aspects, all the doubts, all the issues that come up when the aspect of arrest comes. Like, for example, now my client has to surrender, like his bail has been cancelled. So what do? You go to the police and surrender, and you go to the court and surrender, and then ask for JC, judicial custody, not police custody. All that. So we will be giving you those tips as well that will help you throughout your life, and that will make you different and exceptional in practice. How to lodge an FIR? How to again, there are people who struggle with it. You of course know the section 156 in CRPC, that in itself doesn't help. So we are not going to teach you CRPC, right? We're not going to teach you IPC, right? We are going to teach you how it's done, what are the issues people face, and how they overcome it, right? Then you have how to draft notice under 138. So we'll take you through a notice and we'll see how it's drafted, right? How to draft a reply to police when the police issues summons to produce a document, right? So section 91. You have just read what section 91 is, but what do you do when you receive a summons that says, okay, under 91, you're supposed to come, and your client has received such notice and he's contacting you, what should I do? What will you tell them, right? Then you have complaints to a magistrate under section 200. When do you file it? We start from there. So it's not like we just teach you how to draft, but actually starting from the provision. When do you do it, right? When do you move it with 156.3? When do you register an FIR? When do you file a complaint, right? Under 200. All of that we'll do in a simple manner so that you understand, you don't forget, in a digestible manner, right? Cyber complaint. There's so many cyber frauds happening. So obviously you need to know how to file it, right? Domestic violence complaints. Application under, now these are simple ones, really simple, but only if you know how to do it, right? 207, 91, 311. So various kinds of, these are very, very miscellaneous, simple applications that when you join an office, you're expected to just know it or just do it, right? So you will get to understand and do. You do it once, you won't forget for the rest of your life. Protest petition, we're talking about protest petition, revision petition, criminal appeal before session court, right? Writ 482 appeal. So therefore, I don't want you to restrict yourself only to trial courts. I want you to be handling up appellate jurisdiction as well as doing trials. Right, somebody from Gorakhpur handling it in Allahabad, and coming to Gorakhpur and doing trial as well. That lawyer, because I know lawyers who are like, oh, I just do trial. I'm not comfortable doing it. This is the time to break that comfort zone. This time. And then that's why we will do it together so that your comfort zone is this big. You handle trials, you handle appeals in sessions before sessions, you handle appeals before High Court. You also handle SLPs before Supreme Court. You're that one-man show or one-woman show, right? Drafting of SLP, contempt case. You have heard about so many criminal contempt cases these days. AG giving permission, all of that. that happens here. We understand how you do it, right? There are many students, I think one student had done it, right? All of that we will be discussing Kunal Kamra case and all. Criminal appeal before SC. Then we have, so this is all the drafting stuff. So along with drafting, so this is very important. So along with drafting, we will also be working on our research. Drafting is not something that happens solely. It's combined with research, right? So in each of these modules, we're doing research and drafting together. So the three limbs of litigation: research, drafting, and argument, right? So in all these modules, we're working on research and drafting skills. The last modules, skills to litigate criminal matter, learn art cross-examination, right? How to read judgments, how to prepare arguments, method of criminal litigation before HTN. So this is where we are actually preparing arguments and how to read judgments, etc. We will be doing during those other modules as well, right? So we will be, when we are, for example, preparing a special leave petition, then you're going through a judgment, impugned order, and understanding how it's wrong. We will be doing all that together, right? We will be doing with live examples, with examples from my cases that have already been decided, etc., or from judgments of Supreme Court. We will create problems for you, and then we'll take you through them so that you understand exactly how you can do better, right? All of that we will be doing. I think he has shared discount link and the course link. Anybody who would be interested can have a look. Any other questions? If you can show the date wise as well, so that you all know when we are going to do what. Right. So we start from 5th, 6th. So you can see how we are going to do it, right? 12th, 13th. So there could be a bit of, depending on how we are going, but otherwise we will be following this kind of a schedule for you, right? It's a very, very tight schedule, but I can assure you that we will be covering them all, and you will be giving exercises which will further clarify things for you. And then next day we come and discuss the exercise, right? Perfect. We can go and keep going down. So this is how we do it, right? Any questions so far? This is fine, right? So we complete on 2nd of April, we complete the course. Somebody asked how long is it? So we start from 5th of this month and we complete it on 2nd of April. Right, 2nd of April would be the final session of doubt clearing. Whatever questions remain, we will answer those. Yes, and in the meantime, of course, if during the week, if you have any kind of, I am very, very approachable person. We'll have a WhatsApp group. We can continue our discussions on the group. That's one thing that happens when I'm teaching. And I don't know if the people from the previous courses who have joined, we can also do one on somebody said they want to become an AOR. We can do all those, but let's start from criminal law and then we can keep doing. Drafting of bail applications, yes, Sankalp, we will be drafting.
So if you have any questions, you can just raise your hands and we can answer that. Or my team has dropped the numbers. You can contact us.
Post timing, that's a good question. Shivansh, post time.
So the course timing will be communicated to you by tomorrow. We'll communicate. Ma'am can guide us better on the timings.
Okay, so do we get a certificate for attending session?
Yes,
Shivansh?
obviously, yes, you'll get the certificate. After completing this course, you'll get the certificate.
Okay, great. So the thing is, timing. So we're doing it on a weekend, right? And what we can do is we can do Saturday evening and Sunday late morning, right? So that it's in a continuation, and then you have one full week to work on it and then come back, right? So Saturday we can say do it from 7 to 9 p.m. and then you can have dinner and do the rest of your stuff. And on Sunday, we can do 11 to 1 p.m. If anybody has something scheduled beforehand during this time, let me know. Otherwise, I'll also be scheduling my life based on this. My weekends are gone, right? So I hope you all will be able to do it as well. Access to sample drafts would be of how much time? I didn't quite understand. You will be getting those templates as well.
Yeah, so that will be provided to you. You can access for 90 days more from the ending date of the course. That time you can access the course. So, and we have discount for today as you have attended this session. So the link is being added to the chat box. I'll just send it again. My team has already sent it. So yeah, will there be any assignments from Achal? So yes, of course, the week which we have dedicated from Monday to Friday, you'll be doing your assignments. We'll be giving you the assignments based to test your skills and what all things you have learned so far. So there will be the assignments.
Every week you will get assignments, and then on the next day we will discuss. Of course, you will get a feedback as well, written feedback as well, and we will discuss on the next class if you have faced any problems while doing assignments, etc. That's how you actually work on yourself. I told you that that's how you push your blog. That's how you learn how to demonstrate. That's how you practice your skills. That's very important. It's not something where you just read or you attend a lecture and you get it. That's not how it works. A WhatsApp group, once you have enrolled and first class happens, and then after that you will be actually
And
accepted.
on 5th, you'll be added to the WhatsApp group, and then further communications can be made. And I think Akhil has already registered for the course.
Okay.
Mm. So we have very limited seats available, and you can just explore the link and register. And if you have any queries, you can just reach out to our team. So they'll happy to guide you. And so thank you so much everyone for joining in. And thank you so much, ma'am, for guiding us. Hope to see you on Saturday.
Sure, sure. Timings once again, 7 to 9 on Saturday and 11 to 1 on Sunday, right? And if you have any questions, you can reach out to them, and I'm always there on LinkedIn for you. So that's not a problem at all. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope to see many of you. Thank you, Sankalp. I hope it helped you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.